Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're here. Somehow. 30 years after the release of Super Robot Wars in Japan, the original, although I believe it was called something slightly different at the time. We actually have one in the West, properly. 5 years after V had a proper English localization, and I'm not counting the Moon Dwellers, because my god, that was awful. But yeah, we're finally here. The gigantic mecha crossover series, Super Robot Wars, has finally reached the West. And we're just gonna play it for an hour or so. We're just gonna go and have some fun with it, because it's still been 7 bloody hours, and I'm still having trouble believing this is real. Seriously, what made them decide to release it now? But a few things we need to talk about before we really get into it, and I should probably get off the Jam Project theme song before I do that. This is the PC version, and I've been playing this version for 7 hours, mostly on controller, but notably there is a full keyboard and mouse setup, and it all actually works. Like, it knows what to do when you click on certain things. The keybinds aren't completely crazy, although sometimes they are a little bit crazy. And look, a lot of them are even rebindable. So, you can't argue that they haven't done a decent job with the port here. There's next to no settings because there doesn't need to be. It's two-dimensional pretty much all the time, and it runs on toasters. Have you seen the requirements for this on the Steam store page? They are so low. It reads like requirements for a game from 15 years ago, but that's just kind of comes with the territory, doesn't it? One thing we're talking about, though, is the price, because I'm playing in Aussie bucks, right? Just to give you some concepts here. So this costs 75 Aussie bucks, which is like 60 regular dollars in the US right now. And that's a full retail game. But then on top of that, they've got a $50 pack for the premium sound pack, a $50 season pass, and then $10 more for a bonus mission pack on top of pre-order DLC. Now, the majority of this I'm actually okay with. The season pass makes sense. They've done that in the past. The premium sound pack also makes sense because they've also done that in the past. But man, if that bonus mission pack doesn't feel like a little bit of a kick in the teeth, especially after I pre-ordered this. But yeah, we are playing on just the baseline version. I didn't buy the $150 version. That's what it costs for everything if you bought it all at the same time, because I am not rich. It is worth noting, though, that at the very least, the premium sound pack is not required, because you do still get 1 or 2 bits of music for every series in the game, which is good because it helps maintain that sort of authenticity when it comes to being this massive crossover of giant robot series, right? But at the same time, it probably didn't cost an absolute butt ton to license just 1 or 2 tracks for each. It probably came with the rights to actually use these series in the first place. So, I don't mind this. I genuinely don't mind this. I think this is a good thing. Also worth noting, I don't know if this is something that was added in T, because the last game I played was X. I have a copy of T, but for reasons I never got around to it. So, in this, when you return to the title screen but you don't quit the game, you get audio messages.
ランディ先輩、貸してくれたばかりのスパロボ、もう返せって言うんですか？
隠しユニット入手条件の情報を仕入れたんだ。それを試させろ。
後輩から取り戻そうとするなんて、やっぱり残念な人だ。
違う。俺はがっかりな人だ。
自分で言うな。
Just these little fourth wall breaking meta messages voice acted by the original talent. It's just so nice. It's just that little bit of extra charm just spread across the top of the game that I really do appreciate. There is a lot else that I appreciate about it, and let's load up the game to actually demonstrate that. So here we are in the intermission between levels, because in between the individual levels you have well, this. Good job, me. Great description. But yes, in between individual missions, you come back here and you're allowed to spend all of your resources to upgrade your super robot team. Info, mech list. Because we have an absolute ton of different mechs from different franchises. I did the space start with the male protagonist, and if you do the ground start, it actually starts you with different sets of robots, which is great. It adds that little bit of variety and gives you a reason to hop back in. And you have, like, all sorts of neat mechs and pilots. Give me a minute to have a sneeze. Oh, there it is. God, I have something stuck in my nose or something, I think. But yeah, you have all of these pilots, all of these franchises, all of these different series, and a bunch of waifus, and they're all VA'd at the appropriate times by their original voice actors from their series. And the entire idea of Super Robot Wars is throw them all into a blender and see what comes out. They all inhabit the same universe most of the time. It depends on what game you're playing for the actual circumstances, but this one just plays it completely straight. Like, everyone's inhabiting the same world, so all the events of Mobile Suit Gundam, all the events of the Mazinger, some of the Mazinger series, all of the events of Code Geass, all happen at the same time within a few years. It's like, what the hell? How is humanity still alive? And then they just go on by having all of these interesting interactions, because when you throw all of these different people together, you have them all talking to each other, it gives you all of these great opportunities to have their characters bounce off each other and just play around with these concepts in some really great ways. And it's immensely enjoyable the entire time, and I will be letting you watch a cutscene shortly, but this is a video about gameplay, so let's talk about the gameplay. Or at the very least, the part of it which involves upgrading everything. So, you have your ship, and you can upgrade your ship using MXP. Most Extreme Elimination Points. And these points allow you to do things like, for example, increase the amount of MXP you get, or credits, or extra PP, or you can upgrade things like how your pilots get stuff, or how the ship reacts to certain things, or just the ship's stats, or a bunch of other different things. And as you buy these upgrades, you'll find yourself getting better and better at the fights as you go. The game itself basically says, hey, just go and play around with all the trees, find out what works for you, and then just go down those trees. Which is kind of annoying because you actually need an upgrade from a lab to see what's all the way down at the very end, which is certainly something. I'm going to take that tactics training. Boost move has actually been proving very useful to me. You've also got skills on all the individual pilots, and these skills are basically passive abilities that can help them out in a fight. And you can use PP or power points to buy them and equip them to your characters. You can also earn them through performing certain missions. And some of these are a little bit more useful than others. For example, hit and run. Do an attack, then immediately get to move. This is not normal among most mechs in the game. Or support attack. Make an extra attack after an adjacent ally attacks for half of the normal damage of the attack. Which is really cool. You should always have that. Always have that, if you can, of course, because they always have not that many power points available to you, and you've got so many choices to make, and some of these can actually be useful. Like potential, the weaker you get, the more powerful you are. Save energy, reduce the energy cost of weapons just so you can attack some more. Use your consumable power parts on adjacent allies, which is, again, immensely useful. There are so many ways you can play around with the strategy, and it gives you a lot of flexibility. And this is not true of just this as well, but of other upgrade systems in the game itself. They give you the opportunity to play around with it however you like. And upgrades lets you do just that as well. Using your credits, you use it to power up your robots. So you can give them individual stages in a bunch of different things, like so. We're not going to deal with him, actually, because he's not massively... Well, he is massively useful, but we probably want to do it for the protagonist suit first, just because we're always going to have him around. And when you upgrade everything to, I believe, this, there you go, you get a extra ability on top. So, for example, my protagonist suit here now has an extra power part slot. But, of course, you don't need to focus on that. You can just focus on specializing the abilities of a specific suit. So you want Amuro to basically just be more of a tank, because he's incredibly capable at hitting people already, so I like him just to be able to tank as many hits as possible, just so I could just up his armor and up his HP. Or I can make him move fast and be able to, like, dodge attacks with mobility and sight. Or I can make him hit like a truck by increasing his weapons capability. But again, you're always limited by the amount of credits you have. So they give you flexibility, but not too much flexibility. And it works great, because it helps you make those tough choices. Because you never know who's going to be an absolute titan for you later. But, well, yep, there you go. We'll leave the rest of the credits as they are, because I spent ages trying to worry about them at points. We'll go have a quick look at the options, because some of them are quite interesting. A lot of these are really quite useful. The speed that pieces move, whether or not you can see the whether or not they're friendly or enemy. I like keeping it on zoom just so I can zoom out and just get a bigger view of the board, then zoom back in for the nice 2D graphics. Just a bunch of other things down here which are more just personal preference more than anything else. Back. Sound levels, I'm probably going to turn those up just so I have some better sound levels later on when I'm editing this video. Being able to set your custom BGM. Now, notably, this was a problem with the PC version when it first came out, but they have fixed it. This stuff didn't work at the beginning, but it works now, apparently. So, yeah, I never use it. If you couldn't tell, I don't mind keeping it on the basic music. And here you can change your squad name and the analytics settings. Notably, they say, hey, can we track you for the purpose of improving the gameplay? But they give you the option to decline, which I did. Very good. You also have the ability to swap the difficulty, which is odd in this sense, because I don't remember being able to swap the difficulty when you set it in X and V, and notably it also doesn't have the Super Robot Wars points, where in the original games, if you managed to pull off certain side objectives, it would dynamically increase or decrease the difficulty of the missions as you went, which was, it was a neat way of going about things, but being able to come back here and change the difficulty at your leisure is nice as well. I don't have a problem with that. It's also worth noting that this PC version here, I've had it freeze on me once, but it managed to recover. And outside of that, I've been playing the game for over 7 hours at this point, and nothing else has gone wrong. So I can't really fault them. It's a really good PC port as far as I can tell. So you've also got power parts, which are basically just equipable boosts, whether they be passives or ones that you can use, like, say, imagine healing potions. So, for example, I've got the Narrative Gundam. He's got something that'll make him move really fast, decreases his damage, but loses some energy when he does it. And he can also use the Wish Spirit, which is like an active ability that a bunch of pilots have, and they'll slowly get more as they level up, which can give them the ability to do certain things. Wish, for example, refills all of his health and all of his energy, which is nice. And there's plenty of them. You get tons as you go on, and they're all useful in different ways, whether it be just giving you a bunch of different ways to, again, just customize the way your dudes work, make you feel around with your own strategy. It works perfectly fine. And you can even change out the pilots if you like, but I never really saw the benefit to that, because usually they've got things that help them work better in their particular machines. And you've also got option parts, which is basically just like, hey, like transform your unit to make them work in specific territories, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. And you've also got supporters. You earn SSP as you play along, and you've got a bunch of different, not only on-use abilities, but passive abilities that you get if you have them enabled, but you can only have 6 enabled at a time. Which is good. I like this. that's what I've got. Again, it's just more flexibility in the way you want to go about things. And one of the biggest examples of that is the way they're actually handling missions in this one. Normally in Super Robot Wars, right, you would have a mostly straightforward set of missions. You'd start on a straightforward road, sometimes into branch, but it would usually come back together. And the branches would either be choices you make or things you accomplish in previous missions that open up branches in the later missions. In this one, you have a fair bit more freedom. You've got side missions you can go do. You don't have to do missions in a very specific order. You can just go and do any particular like story mission if you want to, or you can spend all your time going and getting a bunch of different allies if you want to. And you've even got on-board missions, which are like challenge missions. And there's also prerequisites, which give you a bunch of different extra goals to go for. And if you do all of these goals, or any of these goals, you'll usually get a reward for it. So they're just slowly ticking up in the background. Again, it just gives you that little bit more of just an ability to do what it is that you want, how you want to go about things, which is, it's just a nice touch. Especially when you can go to an area and you can see that there might be like bonus missions around here. There aren't right now because I cleared them all out. But there are things like patrols that you can do that'll earn you a bit of extra XP and such. There'll be a fairy flying around that you can go talk to. They'll get you a bunch of different supplies. It's nice. Again, just a bit more flexibility. With that said, let's go and begin this mission in the Indian Ocean. Gnarly and Zero of the Black Knights. That's Code Geass, isn't it? Yes, it is, because when you press square, it gives you this nice little bio of everything they're up to. I like some of these bios sometimes because they usually have like one line down the bottom that's like, this person likes ice cream, or this person is a little bit clumsy. It just gives you a little bit more idea of their character. I'll put it on Auto 2 and see how fast that goes. Maybe I'll turn it back down to Auto 1. Auto 3 might as well be skip. But yeah, as you can see, no voice acting. So you're just going to be doing a lot of reading. And to be fair, this game has an absolute butt-ton of text. Like humongous giant butt-tons of text. So it really is kind of half VN, half strategy game. But considering the amount it would probably cost to get all of these people to actually voice their lines, it would be ridiculous, so I get it. Although it would be nice if they were all voice acted. But sometimes you just gotta leave these things alone. So yeah, the idea of Super Robot Wars is that all of these franchises do exist in the same universe. Sometimes, it depends. And they're all on different progressions. Like, Mobile Suit Gundam, the Mobile Suit Gundam franchise is currently like in post-Unicorn in the narrative series, right? But then you'll have like, say, Code Geass, which is at the end, and then you'll have other ones that have just started up. And half the fun of digging into a Super Robot Wars game like this is figuring it out for yourself. Just jumping in, exploring the world, and figuring out everything that's going on. And I also think this is actually a really cool idea, because it can give you an idea of what series are about, and it can give you some time alone with these characters and make you think, hey, I actually like these people. Maybe it's worth time to go watch the anime that they were in. And that's another good reason to play these games as well, because you learn of all sorts of things you never would have learned of otherwise. Like, I never would have watched Yamato 2199 if it wasn't for Super Robot Wars V, and that series is fantastic. I never would have given it a second thought if I hadn't played Super Robot Wars V and thought, hey, this sounds interesting. Speaking of which, Bandai Namco, could you please make Super Robot Wars V, X, and T all available on Steam? Yeah, you can also press square and get encyclopedia references to things going on here. Although, it is a bit of a spoiler sometimes. So, you just kind of got to be careful of that, because that absolutely was a spoiler for Code Geass. And of course, when you've got all of these universes together, and you've got like all of these different excuses as to where they are in their timelines and what have you, you can do things like bring characters back to life. So, spoiler for Mobile Suit Gundam Char's counterattack. Char and Amuro both die in that, but in this game they're both technically alive. But Bright doesn't know this. So his reaction when Quattro Bagina shows up and announces himself like this, he just screams, "What?" And it's the best. It's probably the only, like, mythology gag I get in this entire game. Because it's just the only series that I've seen. But it still gives me the cackles to think about what his reaction must have been. And of course, they drop in their own original characters as well. Like, for example, Miss Booby Lady on the right, or Mr. Turtleneck on the left. Turtleneck on the left is the protagonist. You can choose between male and female. You can also choose between whether or not you start in Earth or space. And that actually determines what mobile suits you start with. Mobile suits, mechs, super robots, you know what I mean. It determines what ones of them you start with. So, bit of variety going on there. And there probably are more branches as we get in, but I'm 8 hours in and I haven't found a branch yet. I don't know. I've honestly got no idea. There probably will be, because it'd be weird to have a Super Robot Wars game without branching paths. Oh, look who it is! Look who's alive! Oh, man. I haven't seen Code Geass, but I know the important bits, so... I also do appreciate that they actually do, like, make an effort to change up the text and just the general writing of the main character, depending on what gender they are. I've seen the male... I've played through the male one, but I've seen how the female one starts. And while they do eventually end up at the same place, the writing is completely different. Characters treat you differently. Situations come up just in the text itself. But it feels different enough to justify being able to play through for a second time, which is helped out by the fact that the writing is actually really good. They apparently had a full-blown localization team going into this one, and it turned out really well, or at least it has so far. All the characters do feel different from each other. They all get their opportunity to shine, and they do manage to stay separate enough. It doesn't feel like it's like one guy doing all the translations, so everyone comes out kind of sounding the same. No, it all works. It's a really good localization so far. They've clearly put effort into it. This isn't another Moon Dwellers or a Hollow Fragment or what have you. And it keeps me engaged enough. Although, again, I've been playing for 7 hours and I have not been moving along the main plot much, mainly because I've just been trying to get as many robots on my side as possible. But still, all the writing I've seen so far has been really good. Is that a gun? Is that a knife? I think I'm going to have to speed up the text a little bit here, because we're going to be here forever if I don't. So who's this? Another guy from Code Geass, fair enough. One thing I will say about the VN segments here is that they don't really have that much in the way of dynamic presentation. I think of something like Muv-Luv, which has the characters being animated, or fancy CG showing up from time to time. The absolute majority of that I've seen so far from here is this. Two characters, one on the left, one on the right, text down the bottom. No effects, no animations, no nothing. Sometimes you'll get like an FMV, but they're incredibly rare. I've only seen two. So, yeah. This, admittedly, is a little bit rough. And there's very little in the way of sound effects and stuff as well, because you'll get, like, some weapon swing effects, you'll get the same, like, high-heeled shoes walking on concrete sound, no matter where they are, even if they're on a spaceship that shouldn't sound like that. Oh, so these are from, this guy's from an entirely different series. Again, just random ways that these characters tend to interact with each other. They all work out really well, too. Whether it be, just the little kid being protected by all the older adults, the Victory Gundam protagonist, I believe he is, or the protagonist of, God, whatchamacallit? Everybody just interacts really well together. Let's auto up to max because, Jesus. Alright, at least we're out here now. Oh dear lord, are you naked? Well, he's not naked, he's got the coat on, but it really doesn't look like he's wearing pants. Back to maximum speed. I genuinely just have nothing to bloody say. I figured that was worth slowing down for. Playing the innocent little schoolgirl. So, I'm guessing our job is to hold these guys off while Lelouch and his band escapes from the prison. Never mind, they're about to find that out themselves. Is it the bridge? The cliffside. No, this is what we have to deal with. Who the hell are these? The Age of Martian Pioneering. Alright, now it's our time to go. So they give you the opportunity to assign parts, pilots, and upgrade your stuff out here if you forgot to do it. You also have the ability to not only search through everything, which is nice to make sure that you've got the right setup going for you, but you can also just have a look at everything you've got going on, and you can check your objectives. And what's really nice about this game, you've got hints down the bottom, which will tell you exactly what you need to worry about. And during the first missions, it will give you a rough overview of what all of the gameplay mechanics are, so you don't need to worry about being thrown in the deep end. And it even tells you outright, like, some of the more gamey elements of it. Like, notice how the text for the victory conditions is currently orange? That means that something is going to happen in the middle of this mission. With that said, let's take as many different franchises in as we can. Go. I just remembered the stupid fucking theme song they've got for that. It's so funny. It just starts with go. I don't know why I find it so... Oh god, who are we going to pick for our last one? I think it's going to be my man Quattro. Oh, we've got two more. Okay. Don't want to take Camille. We'll take Uso. And, what else are we going to take? I don't know if there's anyone who's actually relevant, because the way that this game works, we'll take Ikaruga, yeah. With Ernie. Ernie is the guy who loves, like, all the mechs, so when he shows up and gets to have a look at all the mechs, he basically has a fangasm. Again, another one of those, like, inter-franchise interactions that this series does really well. And it's also worth noting that if you have, like, if you're going up against certain factions or certain people and you manage to get, like, certain people killed with certain of your pilots, it'll create, like, special events, whether it be forks in the plot, or whether it be just gives you, like, extra bits of dialogue or stuff. So you need to be careful about who you pick. But I think because this is a story mission like this, it isn't going to matter too much, so we'll just pick our 12 and go. Okay, so it looks like our job is to basically get in front of the Dark Tuxedo? Oh yeah, it's that guy. The crazy guy in the tuxedo who swings around the weird sword. It's strange to find that weird in this universe. I just gotta say. Alright. So, Calmavan shot down all the Drystragger, which is our ship. So, do we have the... Yep, we have the opportunity to move these two. So, the best thing to do would be to get them out of harm's way as soon as humanly possible. Especially if that means not letting them attack. So, the controls are really simple. Left stick move, right stick zoom in or out. You can see that I get a little color view here because I changed that one setting. You can also rotate the view if you so desire, but it's usually not massively necessary. The bumpers will jump between all the units that are on your side that haven't acted yet. The triggers will jump between enemy units that are on the field. It doesn't really matter what order they get in. L3 sets your waypoints. I believe these only work as reminders. I don't find them to be necessary. R3 does nothing. And you have the circle button, which will allow you to pull up the menu and let you see things like the list of allies, the list of enemies, and their stats, and you're allowed to also have a closer look at them. See things like their stats, like their armor, which determines how much damage they manage to shrug off. Mobility, which is how likely they are to dodge, I believe. Same thing with sight. How good they are in particular terrains. The stats of the pilots in the bottom right there, and that just affects how good they are at attacking and defending. And morale, which is interesting, although I like to think of it more like momentum, where the more hits you get, the more hits you take, and the more enemies you manage to destroy, the more morale you get. And if you have, it takes a certain amount of morale to do certain things, whether it be use certain weapons or certain abilities on your mechs, which is really cool. You've also got the X button, which will tell you about terrain and what it does. I've seen very little in the way of terrain that actually does stuff in this game so far, although I've read that in Super Robot Wars in particular, it hasn't exactly, in the most recent entries, it hasn't exactly been mostly relevant, the terrain is, anyway. What else is there? You can see the objectives, you can see the tactical situation, which tells you all of this. And you can also set the auto mode strategy, because there is an auto mode in this game. It's not particularly great though, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, but if you're just doing a really easy battle, I suppose it can't hurt to set them all to attack, hit the auto button and just go. And of course you can come here to change most of the settings. You can't change the difficulty mid-fight, of course. Nothing particularly wrong with that. You do also have the ability to map certain buttons to certain abilities. So triangle and square here, I've got on my allies list and my search, but if I'm hovering over one of my units, I can see their skills, which costs SP, you recover it over time, and you can use these in order to do specific things. Like, for example, this one here will make it so that I'm guaranteed to hit and the enemy is guaranteed to miss, but since that's limited, I want to save that for a specific point. Like, for example, when a bunch of enemies all attack me at the same time, because the more times you get hit on a turn, the more damaged, the more accurate the enemies will become. So, yeah, it all becomes a game of when do I use these most effectively, and you can also use other abilities like that. And if you press triangle here, as I've got it set, it'll just bring up the details. It'll even show you the weapons, and they've all got their own different things, like whether or not they're map weapons, where they hit like massive areas at once, whether or not you can move and shoot, whether or not they are beams, whether they have special effects, like barrier buster, so it goes right through shields, ignore size, so the penalty you would get for attacking something bigger than you doesn't apply as much, etc, etc, etc. It's not massively complicated, but it does mean you do have to think about things a little bit. But I am also playing on normal, and considering that I've actually played a little bit of Super Robot Wars, I haven't actually been having that much trouble. I've lost like one unit this entire game, and it was one I gave up on purpose. So I'm probably doing something stupid right now by moving every single one of my dudes into the firing line, but if anything, it will just be a good opportunity to demonstrate some attacks later on in the fight. So they all have their own energy, ammo, and HP. I don't think you can regenerate ammo. I believe that goes away entirely over the course of a game, over the course of a mission. But if you want to get your energy or your HP back, you can dock inside the ship for a turn, which will let you get some of them back. And you can also use the ship to recover units, like straight up at a certain grid around them, which is nice. You've also got things like EXC, and you earn these by destroying units. And as you can see here, there are all sorts of unique abilities, like being able to take a second turn if you manage to destroy a unit after activating this ability. Or certain attacks don't require energy or ammo for a battle. Or being able to ignore abilities so that you can basically just hit them through any defenses they might have up. very useful. If you're pushing one unit to the limit and they've got a bunch of EXC, just send them at the boss unit, hit every single one, and then just punch it right in the skull. Anyway, with that said, end phase. Always starts on our turn, then it moves to them. So they're going to attack, obviously. We're going to keep the animations off for now, but we can use 3 different actions. We can counter the attack with any one of our attacks that are in range. We can defend, which is probably going to hit, but at the same time, it's going to reduce the amount of damage we take, or we can try and evade, which will add a bit more chance for us to do it. But we're going to counter just for the bonus damage. We can also come here to use any spirits if we so desire, and we can also, notably, use ones from co-pilots or other pilots, because they just make it really easy. We'd also be able to use like support defenders if there was anyone nearby, but we don't. So the majority of the game you'll be playing, you'll probably be seeing this, which is the screen that shows 2 robots just throwing attacks at each other really quickly, because while the animations in this game are absolutely gorgeous, they take up a lot of time. We will get to the animations when it comes to our turn, don't worry, I will be turning them back on. I'm just turning them off for now so that the enemy phase goes that little bit faster. You might also notice that enemies don't actually attack that much. You'd think they would, but they don't. It's a little odd, but okay. So we'll move the ship up first so we know what we're dealing with, and we'll get these 2 in the back. We don't need to worry about them right now. They probably will join our team in a bit, but for now we don't have to worry about them. So, I think we're going to want to give it to the Gundam, yeah, the V-Dash Gundam, I reckon. So we'll move, actually, can we attack from here? We can, and we can use the Beam Smart Gun. Alright. You're gone, die. Also, we're going to have a support attack. Great, from the Great Marzinger, I believe that is. With that said, we do have the support attack, so if they've got that skill, and they're relatively close by, they can fire off an attack and deal a bit of extra damage a little bit faster. Quite useful. The enemies can do this. Not useful. Let's start the battle with the animations on.
相手が機械なら動きにパターンがある。こいつのビームなら落ちろ。
Absolutely fucking gorgeous. These have been gorgeous since I first started playing this series back with like the first chapter of Super Robot Wars Z3, and they've only just gotten even more gorgeous. Like seriously, these games are absolutely amazing looking. Let's go for something. Yeah, let's go with the cutie here. Oh wait, is this? Oh no, it's morale. I need to build up more morale. This one's moving fire. Can I actually? No, I can't. I'm too far away. We'll just go for it. Sword! You can also notice that they've got percentages up there that notably also tell you when a hit will actually just outright kill the enemy, which I really appreciate. It's nice to know that for sure, because if you come up to someone with a massively high-powered attack, you think they're going to die from it, but they're not, you can take a closer look at the enemy and be like, oh, that's why I'm not killing them in one shot. Shit. Anyway, animation time. Once again, just genuinely gorgeous. And it's got the voice acting from the original series. It's got... Can I get... Please tell me I can get the... Damn it! I need to get his morale up some more. Alright, Beam Saber. We'll turn the animation off for this one. I want to show off the Gundam attack sequence. It's beautiful. Alright, what's going on here? We've got range, and we've got range. And also morale there. Yeah. Let's show off Breast Burn. It costs a ton of energy, but it's also just a really nice animation. Sick as. Admittedly, I'm doing this on enemies that are just getting absolutely slaughtered with the first shot. They usually don't get the opportunity to hit back. This time he does though, and as you can see, it can be kind of awkward because you kind of have to wait for them, for the new animation to start. You have to wait for them to come in from the side of the screen. Oh dear. He took a hit, but he's alright. 1300 damage isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things. Oh, here's the Go Guy Go with the stupid music. I don't have my my sound up, but you should be able to hear this. This one's like a fucking VTOL. But yeah, the sprites look lovely. The animations are genuinely really well done. It is just such a beautiful set of animations. As with all these Super Robot Wars games, I just wish there was a way to do them, like, I don't know exactly what I'm looking for here, but a way to just more elegantly streamline them into the gameplay itself would be way appreciated. I don't know how you do it. Yeah. It's his best attack right now. Let's let you watch the animation. I don't know how you do it. I mean, technically you can do this. If you hold the circle button, it unlocks the frame rate and doubles the speed of the animation. Which is just weird. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Maybe you're just sick of waiting for like a 1 second animation, but if you press the X button while these animations are playing, it'll skip the animation entirely. Like, watch. See, it just skips it entirely. That wasn't the end of it. I don't know how you'd more elegantly, like, tune these into the gameplay itself. Like, maybe have, like, Pokemon-style animations here. Oh, yeah, people are probably going to want to see the Zine and Knuckle. Because, apparently, the SRX is a godlike machine. I haven't played enough Super Robot Wars to know that for sure, but here you go. This is one of the pre-order units, I believe. Fucking robot uppercut into the sun. Genuinely gorgeous. And I'll just press the X button to skip the rest of the animation because we've already seen it. Yeah, we'll just take out this one. Admittedly, I've been playing this quite inefficiently. Generally, the idea is you want to focus on taking out a handful of units at a time so that there aren't a bunch left to attack you. But, oh well. We're here to have fun, not to strategize. So yeah, generally you just kind of want to let these ones go on fast play. I'd let it go on auto if I could. Well, I say if I could, but I don't want to, like, give control back to the game when it comes back to the player phase. It would be nice to just say, hey, do what you think is best. Because generally the game does do what it thinks is best. If it can't probably shouldn't have pressed circle on that. Thankfully he can take a pretty good amount of damage. The game will be pretty damn intelligent about it, right? It will be intelligent about what you need to do and what you should do and how you should do it. So if you're out of range, you'll evade. If you're in range, you'll probably defend. If you have a weapon available that you can hit them with, you'll probably hit them with it. And it'll probably pick out the weapon that can do the highest damage, but also maintain a really high accuracy. So it just, yeah, it just works. It's really smooth. I'm not saying you don't have to think about it. You might think, I want to save my power for later, I'll evade, but so far that hasn't really been a problem for me. But it still gives you those options. And don't forget, you've still got the spirit commands you can use. You've still got all sorts of little things just to think about. And it's not a massively hard game. As I said, I haven't lost a single unit so far. I've lost some of the optional missions, which are like you need to defeat these guys within 3 turns or less. But they are generally, what's the word I'm looking for? They are generally like, you're meant to come back to them. You're meant to come back to them when you're more powerful. That is the angriest angry face that I've seen in this game. Look at her. Looks like her head's gonna explode from being pissed off. Lloyd's delivery? Yep, okay, you are a Code Geass guy. I apologize if you can hear my fingers cracking. What the hell is this? Oh, that is a nice pilot suit. Look at that. Two minutes, huh? So that probably means we've got 2 turns. Note, Nugget Shumane retreats on turn 5. So yeah. We need to be quick about this. That's her, right? 8,900 HP. Which is not much. But her skills are pretty good. Does she have any, like, Yggdrasil Drive? Can I get some info on that? Negative, minus 40% damage taken. Good lord. Alright, that's a problem. Let's get the ship up there, because we're gonna need its massive fuck-off cannons. Great Marzinger. Thunderbreak. Thunderbreak from 1 step back, please. We need you to hit this thing, so we are going to activate this one, so now you can't touch us. Yeah, you know what? Animation on. Let's watch this. It's also worth noting that this is probably the condition I was talking about earlier, where if you get a certain character to defeat another certain character, you'll get something special out of it. So I'm guessing I'll need to get Callan to defeat this lady. Although I do appreciate that this random lady from this random franchise is like, I know you, you're the Marzinger guy, you're a good fight. I really do appreciate that. Again, just those little interactions that make this series so worthwhile. They do such a good job with this. You can try, but you have a 0% hit chance. It does XCOM you from time to time. I will warn you. You'll have a 90% chance to hit and you'll fucking miss. And then they have a 35% chance to hit and you'll get destroyed off of it. Just warning you now. If I hit you from here, will it be enough to kill you? No, it won't. That's good. Yeah, we're just gonna do the same thing. Skip the animation this time, though. Okay, 1,600 left. What do you got? Wave Surge, not enough range. It is moving fire. And it's a barrier buster, so that might actually help. So, Wave Bollocks, I have to get right up in the face. Wave Surger. It'll be a shoot down if I can hit it. Accuracy becomes 100% for a turn. Yeah, that was easy. Alright. Gonna be rough losing all that experience and potential kills, but what are you gonna do? You know what? Animation on. Yep, you even get those fantastic close-up shots. Although, I'm usually a little disappointed because sometimes you get those, like you get those shots and it looks like it's been destroyed, but then it'll cut back to the unit exploding. And then sometimes you'll get that where it's like, it's just gone. Which I much like. But yay, stuff. Can you see that little exclamation point that comes up there? That's usually the sign that, hey, you did this right. There was probably also a special condition like, hey, getting those two to attack each other. But I probably missed it. Oh, you're cute. What the hell? That's not what I was expecting. It's only been a year. It's only been a year since the end of Code Geass, and it's not even been that long since the end of, like, Gundam Unicorn. Neo Zeon is still kicking around. This world is insane. So yeah, we get this guy who looks like the most depressing cowboy in existence. And everybody knows everybody. Like bloody... bloody... Everybody knows everybody. It's crazy. And yeah, and we get Callan too. And he just gets a suit out of nowhere. This happens a couple of times. It's generally like we just have a suit waiting for you. It's all good. And we also get 3 new supporters, a power part, and a bunch of stuff. And we just keep going. We just keep going. We keep having adventures. We keep learning about this crazy world. We keep having these interactions between people that are absolutely great. There's this one in particular that happens early on where one of the pilots has this amazing idea to get everyone together who isn't a woman and is over 15 to watch a porn film. I don't know why, but then after that, and this is the best part, you get this private disc, grants a male pilot 20 max morale, 2+ morale per turn to that pilot. The idea of any of these people carrying porn into battle is something ridiculous to me, but it happens. And it's just genuinely great. Oh, we even have a new mission here. Anything here going on? Nope, nothing yet, unfortunate. Although it's really just a conversation of being like, hey, the ship spat this out for us, so there you go. But anyway, we have a boss battle. Let's do that. There's no reason not to. There's no penalty for losing. Give you a little bit more gameplay, a few more cool animations. So yeah, we start with the Destroyer, and we get 8 units to pick from. We're probably going to need our 8 strongest, most likely, so... Callan's at level 15 straight off the bat, that's interesting. We'll go with a nice, even spread of franchises. We'll go with Gundam, the Marzinger, the Huckbine, the SRX, the Red 5, the Flame God Ray Earth, and the Dan of Thursday. Apparently, that's the name of that ship. But you know what? We're going to go with Rose 3. Because I really like Rose. I really like Tamaki. I don't know why. And again, just the flexibility lets you make... It lets you make your own stuff. Whoa. What? Okay, that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting, oh, we have Joe in the background on the left, and who's that on the right? It's Charlio! Hooray! So, we basically get to do the same battle again, but We also have some Walgaru soldiers and some Neo Zeon. And some Zanskare. This is weird. Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Well, first things first, ship up the middle. And we do not want to go rushing into this head-on, so I reckon we just get everybody to plant their feet around the ship. And we take it from there. That seems like the smartest thing to do. It also looks like we might actually have, like, terrain advantages. So, tall buildings give bonuses to defense and evasion. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Let's get everybody around the ship, let them come to us. See, it's not even going to touch him, so we can just sit back and watch. I don't even know what the Walgaroo is supposed to be.
惜しい本当に惜しかったぜウルガルどもを蹴散らしてやるくらえくらえくらえ
But yeah, he dead. But yeah, you'd hope that, like, the smoke would disappear and he'd just be gone, but you have to sit there and wait for him to explode. It's a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Just strange. We'll turn the animation off for this one. Dead. Third one comes in, going after Mine 30 with his photon rifle. So we'll start the battle, but we'll hold the circle button to skip through the Walgaroo soldier's animation. Pew, pew. Dead. Fun. Also really good for leveling up these missions, although unfortunately you can't repeat them, they're not grindable. I don't see a problem with letting this one go. Skip the, this one, and then let the big VTOL robot take over, apparently.
お前たちの相手をしている時じゃないファントムリングプラス移動軍ファントム
Oh, that's got a sting. There's even a couple of really cool ones where they make it so that there's a hole in the sprite. Certain attacks, and they turn out looking really cool when they actually work. So the Neo Zeon are all going to come up the center, but it looks like none of them are close enough to attack. I believe if I hold, is it the circle or the X button? Usually that's meant to speed things up, but it doesn't. Oh well, that's fine. So, what's next? Yeah, we'll just hit them from long distance. There's no reason to go charging in there just yet. So pretty. Looking almost super deformed. But oh, not exactly anyway. And I can hit him away if I want to, but as I said, there's no point. We're just gonna hold strong here. High finger launcher, we've already seen that. Turn the animation off. No, you can stay where you are as well. You can't hit anybody from this distance, but you can hit from this distance. We might as well take him out. Dead. The ship? I don't think there's a point in moving the ship just yet. We'll move you up here. Can you hit anyone? You can't. But you know what? You'll stay up there anyway. There's going to be some coming from that direction. I imagine having those guys there is actually going to be good for their stats. So, the way I see it, there's no downside. No, that's too far forward. Come back to... Yeah, come back to here. Now the ship... We can use some of these if we want to. But we don't really have that much going for us in that sense, so... We can also get them back, but I don't think there's a point. We can also land the ship, but I don't think it would do us any favors at this point. So we'll end off there and we'll let them come to us. Ruby Lightning. That's gonna sting him if it hits. We're gonna use Persist, because Persist is really good. Like, seriously, taking 1/8 of the damage you would otherwise take. Almost more worth it than ones that'll just make it so that you don't actually get hit, because it takes less and it barely makes a mark on your armor. It's really nice. We've seen the Huckbind 30. We'll just let this one go. We can always get him back to the ship if need be. That Neo Zeon is attacking from a long distance. Yeah, we probably don't want him to take this hit at this point. We probably want him to be as strong as possible, because when those boss units show up, they are gonna be annoying as hell. You know what? I'll show you what I mean. 4C, here, done. And now, we're gonna turn on Tamaki's animation.
戦闘を開始する。相手になってやる。
Look at the size of that thing.
力の力を見せてやるのら。
What the hell does that
全く
mean?
意味がわからねえ。
モビルスーツとアッシュの戦いなのら。逃がさない。
Yep, why do you think I turned on the animation for that one? It's alright though, she's cute too. Here I come. They're really piling up on the right there. Now, Ryusei in the SRX actually has, do I have the opportunity to see what... No, I don't, not from here. He has the thing that lets him get way stronger as he gets more hurt, so I'm willing to let this hit happen. Let's just skip that animation. I don't even know if that hit happened or not. With Ray Earth though, nope. Can't use it because I've already used it. Great. I could evade, but I don't think there's any point. Now I know that's not from IBO, but that kind of looks like some of the power loaders. Like, was that what they were called from IBO?
反撃のチャンス。炎の。
Still gorgeous. Admittedly, some of the sprites are a bit lower resolution than the others, but it makes up for it in just energy in the animation and the overall quality of the effects that come out. It looks good. All right, so yeah, this is gonna be a boss attack. We could hit her back. Yeah. All right, let's do this. We're probably not gonna hit her back. Probably. Skip the animation. Alright, did we actually hit her? We didn't. Fair enough. Alright, they're all a little close for comfort, but sometimes that comes with benefits. Like being able to blow the fuck out of this guy with a really big ship. Look at it. It's so gorgeous. Absolutely wonderful. Alright, let's get back on the attacking front, shall we? Question is, what do we do? She is not going to be able to hit shit, I think. Yeah, fuck it. 85%. That's going to be pretty good. Skip the animation. Watch him blow up. There we go. You stay exactly where you are, because if you need to run back to the ship, you're not going to be able to do it from much further away. Yeah, Marzinger Blade will do. What are we going to hit it with, though? Yeah. 80% is fine. Really need to learn to turn off my animations. Did he take a hit from that? He did. He's not in the best shape, but that's okay. Double Gravitron Rifle, 100% chance to hit, 50% chance to crit, and it's going to take it down, so we'll just do that. No reason not to, I reckon. Keep everybody as far away as possible. I reckon that's the best plan for this fight. Flame Sword, that's not going to... Is there something here I can actually... Oh yeah, you're right there. Okay. Well, we'll try with that just to save the energy. 77%. This one, 81%, still an instant kill if it hits. You know what, I'm willing to take the 81% chance. Down it goes. Okay, SRX, what's your plan? Supreme TK Blaster Sword. Can't hit shit with it from this distance. But we will do that. And we have, yeah, okay. Right, we'll focus, 100% chance to hit, instant kill. Bob's your uncle. And, you know what, we'll move you up here. Just so you got a bit more evasion for what's coming. Pep Cannon. Oh, hello. Yeah, you die. Man, rotating the camera is actually coming in use now. We got 2 units left. We got the Gundam. Can the attack sequence hit something? Yes, it can. Yeah, you know what? We'll do that. Animation on. Because I just really like this animation sequence. It fits this perfectly.
こいつのことは俺が一番よくわかっている。これだけの攻撃ならば。そこだ。
Chuck the fucking rocket launcher at him. Beautiful.
直撃させる。
Yeah, genuinely beautiful. Yeah, he just sits there because he doesn't have anything that'll actually let him hit that. You pop onto this building. No reason for you to move off this building. He levels up. He gets some stat benefits. Nice. Broken Phantom goes here. 95% chance to shoot down. Turn the animation off. Dead. Alright. So we've almost evened out in strength. That's good. It's their turn next. That's bad. But as you can see, we've actually got a fair amount of EXC going on all of these guys, so we'll be able to put that to good use next turn, because a few more of them are going to wander into our attack range, and we're going to fuck them up. Yeah, that's... yeah. Not worth the energy cost at this moment in time. Yeah, it isn't going to hurt us too badly. Didn't even hit us. Very good. Neo Zeon's going for the Go Guy Go. Do we want to... Well, we're going to have the ship defending us on this one, actually. So we're just going to hit start battle. So yeah, the ship comes in and actually takes a hit for us. And it deals a lot less damage to the ship. Just because it's a support defend. And then we hit back and it just goes boom, dead, goodbye. Attacking the Great Marzinger up on top of a building. That thing must be bloody huge. We'll turn on Intuition. And yeah, we can only counter the Great Typhoon, unfortunately, but we'll do it anyway. Might have been a better idea to save that for later on in the turn, but for now it'll be fine. 14% chance to hit. No dice. 66% chance to hit. Yeah, it's gonna hit. It's not. And she crits back. And she has a new spirit action she can use. Hell yes. The Gorn Genocider. Alright, probably worth going for that. Just making sure this hits, because we're gonna need to start damaging the boss unit eventually, right? Yeah, no reason not to just say, yeah, do that. And, yeah, no reason to not just do that. Going straight for the Gundam. Seriously? We'll counter with attack sequence, because, I mean, no reason not to, but can I make it so that he's completely not going to hit me? 3% chance. A little bit more forgiving than XCOM, at least on normal difficulty. On hard, maybe not so much. Okay, so we have a lot of choices here. Considering that we've got a fair amount more to worry about, but we also have a bunch of EX points spent up. And the ship actually gets some cool EX stuff. Emergency retrieval, stats up to anyone, to all allies. So that would actually be really useful if we're trying to hit something. And 10 morale to just like one unit, but I don't think anything here has got anything that we won't have to, that we'll need to worry about when it comes to that. I reckon we get rid of him first. Use Intuition. Because at the very least it means that we'll have one less boss monster in the way. Actually, will a Vulcan do the job here? No, it won't. Beam Rifle? No. Beam Saber? Yes. And we'll focus because it's worth it and start the battle. Done. Dead. And now we don't have to worry about him at the very least. I'm willing to accept that. Double Gravitron Rifle. Where's the one that we hurt last turn? Oh, you'll do. Probably should save my energy for hitting the bitch on the right a bit harder, shouldn't I? What can you hit from here? You can hit this guy. 74% chance to 100% chance, and he's dead. Stats for them. So, what are you exactly? So, what is your new spirit that you just got? Oh, that's a good one to have. Intuition is a good one to have. Where? What next, though? Well, the Hep Cannon? Yeah, the Hep Cannon will do it. I'd rather just get it out of the way. Bye. 6 mechs to go. So you can attack someone from this distance. Who is it? It's Charlio. I doubt you're gonna hit her though. Unfortunate. But you do have some. No, you don't have enough available to you, unfortunately. You know what? We'll move you closer, and we'll get you hit that. 97%. Yeah. Well worth taking that. Ruby Lightning? Will that actually hurt her? Yeah, that is not worth the 2 hit count. So how are you doing anyway? You've barely used any energy. It's not worth getting you back in the ship. Sword. Yeah, that'll do. Man, the numbers have really been working for me on this one, haven't they? You know what? Why not? Supreme TK Blaster Sword right into this lady's face, and we'll make it a bullseye. And we'll make it that we persist. Basically, the eat shit command for this lady.
あのナイトメアフレームは油断ならねえ。
T リンクフルコンタクト。
ジェットソード射出。トロニウムエンジンフルドライブ。全てを切り裂け SRX。 おお超必殺。天上天下粘土爆砕剣。
Awesome.
粘土爆砕。
Awesome.
あの重い攻撃をたび食らうわけにはいかない。
No, I don't think you will. Awesome.
戦いを見せてあげる。
That was fantastic. Alright. You know what? Let's fuck her up with the ship. We'll turn the animation off because we've seen it. Yeah. Even the Distraga. I don't know how you pronounce that. It's bloody German. Yeah, no reason not to pull out all the trappings here, because we've pretty much got this in the bag at this point. Going after the Huck Mine, are ya? You're gonna regret that. I'm sorry, was that an attack?
超細かと動き回るなっての。必殺のコンビネーションだ。
This is an attack.
もう逃げられねえぞ。落ちやがれ。
私もいい。こっちも死にたくねえからな。
And finally...
機械が相手なら遠慮はしない。やるよ、レイオス。はーい。これで終わりだ。
Cool girls don't look at explosions. What do we get? We got a catered bento box, apparently. Sounds like a power part. But yeah, that's it. That was a look at Super Robot Wars 30. It's fantastic. The localization is really well done, and it manages to capture the whole inter-franchise interaction thing that this series does so well. Really well. The upgrade system is as flexible as ever, letting you decide what team you want to make and what you want to do with it, with plenty of different ways to go about it, whether it be power parts, upgrading the individual mechs, upgrading the ship itself, what skills you want to put onto them. The way that they've done the missions also gives you a bit more flexibility. You don't have to worry about going for certain people if you don't want to worry about it. You've got plenty of side missions to do now. Neat little things to do here and there that just give the game that little bit more longevity. The animations are still absolutely gorgeous. The gameplay, while not massively deep, is still really enjoyable, at least for someone like me. Yeah, I got nothing but praise. Welcome to the West, Super Robot Wars. Lovely to have ya. And I really hope they can get some of the previous entries out. Like, XVT, sure, they all had English localizations, but what I want to see is Super Robot Wars Z. I want them to, like, remaster them in one game and put that out for us, because that would be fantastic. That would be wonderful. With that said, this has been Blue Maxima. I'll see you all next time.